good morning, Mr. Tyree. Last week I asked you to do an interview for me for one of my classes in educational research, and you gave me the consent this morning. And today it's Tuesday, July 12, 2016. This is just going to be for my class. Nobody's going to see it or anything. Only my professor at Concord and myself. So this interview is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes, and it's taking place at your house in Summersville, West Virginia. It's just me and you. And do you have any questions?
No.
Alrighty, so let's begin. Just state your full name and your current profession.
Okay, Glen Tyree. I'm principal at Mount Nebo Elementary in Nicholas County.
Okay. What about your school? Tell me about your school. What are the grades taught, or how many kids do you have there?
Okay, we do not have preschool, so we're a K through 5 school. We have about 110 students. We're mostly middle class, I feel. We're about 99% white students. About 60%, I think, of our students are on free or reduced lunch.
60%.
I think.
Okay. Now, is that going to change in the county with Title I, or do we have Title I at our school or anything?
We do not have Title I. We years ago we were a Title I school, but it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
This year we did have one school next to us, Mount Lookout, as Title I.
Okay.
But because of our levy, every child will get a free breakfast and a free lunch this year, starting for the next 5 years.
That'd be great. 5 years?
5 years.
That's good. All right, what type of assessments are administered at your school?
Okay, we broke it. We tried this year to try to do less assessments, just because of time and different issues. But in K through 3, we do a cold write, start of the year, end of the year, spelling inventory, and the third one I couldn't remember. PAR. That's right. And then in grades 4 and 5, Miss Walton teaches 4th grade, and she gives the cold write, spelling inventory, and there's
We do the formative, the RSAs through our everyday math program.
Right.
And then we do
explain what we do this.
Well, in the Reading Wonders, it's our new reading series program, and we administer diagnostic assessments. It's the benchmark assessments that just basically checks the progress of the students at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, and then at the end of the year for us to keep track of. And then we also, in grades 3, 4, and 5, we have the Smarter Balance assessment that we take towards the end of the year. Okay.
Yeah, and she's the only, that's ELA and math,
Mm-hmm.
and and then in grade 4 we give social studies.
Yeah, a science test,
And
that they keep track of.
Of course, we were pretty excited to start seeing our scores really early this year, and of course, but that's statewide. That's what grades, that starts with grade 3 and goes through grade.
I think 11.
11.
Yeah, grade 11. All right. What certifications and degrees do you currently have in the field of education?
Okay. I've many years ago got my master's. Of course, I'm paid on a master plus 45. But then educational administration. That's with endorsements and all kind of supervisor of curriculum, all kind of things, superintendent. But I guess I have about every endorsement out there, but of course, I never really wanted to be in the secondary, even the middle school. I mean, I wanted to be in elementary, so that's what I've done for. I retired once, but I wanted to work. I wanted to work again, so I've always been an elementary principal in this county, and so that's.
I think you found your calling.
I think I did.
All right. Did you ever teach any? You did, didn't you?
I taught 3. In fact, this school that I'm that I no doubt going to end my career with. I taught there years ago. I taught 2 years there, but I have a total of 3.5 years of being a teacher in this county.
Okay, and then how many years have you been an administrator or the principal?
I think it's over 40 years. Well, I know it's at least 40, and I know I'm in the low 40s somewhere.
You've been at it a while.
Yeah, it's been fast.
That's right. All right, what made you decide to go into education
Um,
when you were a young?
When I graduated high school, I had an uncle that was a principal in this county, and so I worked with him a lot, and he kept talking to me about going to Glenville, and I want to be a teacher or a principal. Even we talked about that at an early age, and so I wasn't sure that's what I wanted to do, but as I started in Glenville, and I liked what I was learning, and I liked the school, so that's what I did.
Okay. All right. At your current employment at Mount Nebo, do you participate or any of your teachers participate in educational research?
I couldn't think of any big scale research like we might do, but I know I've been here 3 years, and we talk about current research, but as far as being a school that we do research on a certain topic, and I'm not sure could you think of anything?
Well, the only thing I could think of is when we do have our PLCs and do different book studies and whatnot. Sometimes we look at student progress of what they've made, or school progress even, when we talk about assessments. That'd be about my only thing. And we talk about the RSAs. But
I think we all enjoyed I'll put this in about Mark Weekland. He wrote a book. This is not really the correct title, but it's about making the Common Core simple. And we did some things with that, like with vocabulary, but just reading about what he felt was some proper ways to teach things. And we really got into that book and had some. We had several afternoons where we had people come into school and do things with our kids where we could be together and talk. We had another person come to our school to be the leader of that too, and talked about things.
She did the vocabulary strategies, I feel, didn't she? The reading.
So we picked things from his book, and we learned from it.
It was a good book study, yeah. All right. As a school, do you all do the qualitative or the quantitative? The quantitative deals more with the numbers versus the qualitative being the collection of like the journals and the writings.
Yeah, I felt we do more with numbers.
Okay, with quantitative.
When we get our scores back with the Smarter Balance, we see what percent the class scored this, and
whether they're proficient or not.
But just I deal quite a bit with percents of things, and with so I just.
So the quantitative would be more of the data analysis. Okay. All right. How would you rank educational research, so to say, with your teachers and in their classroom?
I wrote down I'd rank it pretty high. I'll go ahead and explain why I think we went back to the book study, back to things we hear from other schools that's going well, so that they've had success in. We learn from what we hear. We read things, hear things. We want to try it. That it feels been success in certain places, and we'll see how it fits in for our school. But
I feel like our teachers go to trainings that are necessary to try out different things, the science conferences, the reading and the math conferences, and we tend to bring it back to our school to try.
And that's really I've had schools where they really, when they got back from a good training, they were really they just really didn't share it but this school, Abby is one that she has teachers with other people. I mean, they'll come back and we get to sit down and talk about it, and they're really good to share it with us, and I can see in their faces when they're talking to the how they really are taking it in and trying to see if what they can learn from for their class. So.
Yeah. All right. We talked about how it's used. Has it ever affected the educational research that's been performed with the data analysis and the collection? How has it ever affected the classroom? How do we use it?
You know, don't know if I can be specific, but I think they do. There's certain things they do use, and I think they probably. I've heard it, but we're going to do things a little different this year. We're going to try this because of what we've learned. We're going to. That didn't work very well, so I'm just generalizing here. What I hear though, I know they're willing to when a certain research someone has done, they've read about it, they have been to a conference and heard about it. They've tried it, didn't go as well as they thought, but they want to try it a little different way. But I believe.
Well, it seems like even with our RSAs that we collect as a formative assessment, we kind of, if something's not working with the child in that certain math area, we might even go back and reteach it based on what we've collected. It seems. I mean, that's what I do in my classroom. All right, what do you think new teachers should be researching in the classroom with their students?
Okay.
Number 14.
Number 14. You know, I thought about. I'm not sure. I read that to mean. I mean, I'm not sure that means. You know, we know they research certain topics, and they'll from what all they can learn about. I hear where they've learned that had no idea that about that certain animal would do that or that habitat, whatever. But I'm not sure that question. What do you think that question really? I'm not sure I have the right.
Well, no, that's fine. In relation to maybe new writing techniques, this is sort of going into even with our professional development, what we use into our classroom, just new findings, new things. I feel like our new reading series have brought in new projects that we can do in our classroom with the kids. And the kids are learning more informative texts, or new subjects that wasn't maybe taught later on or early on in classes. So, yeah, I think that's fine. What advice would you give new teachers that are coming into the educational world or beginning teachers?
Okay, I wrote this down because I wanted to kind of have this, like I really felt like it's what's important, and I wrote down like here's what I feel is important for them. After teaching a certain concept or something, after a certain topic they've talked about or they've tried to relay to the kids, I was thinking about what Miss Walton was. I call her Abby sometimes, Miss Walton. But I remember talking this year about fractions, but just I was thinking about that today. That she would do either a summative assessment or a formative assessment, depending. Just she's trying to see if they really are getting it or not. But on that, just after they teach it, and then after we test it, and we see, well, some kids they were struggling, they didn't really get it. But I think how important it is for that they go back and they reteach it. So maybe they don't need to reteach the whole class. Sometimes I heard her say, well, it might go right over their head. We're going to have to try that again. But I think just that what's important to me, that caring, whether and just knowing who is not getting it and who and will care enough to just slow down, reteach it again, whether probably in this case I was thinking about individuals, but when we show them that we really do care about their learning and them as a person, and that we just don't hurry through things. We've thought in our lifetime how we're just trying to get through that book. We're trying to just like it's a race. If we don't get there at the end of the year, we think we failed or something. We don't cover everything, but it's probably difficult to cover everything. So just take her time, show the kid, and I will. She's really. I see them at her, whether she's at their desk or they're at her desk, trying to see if I can help these students get that. And so I think for a new teacher is that's the educational advice that I thought would be
slow down and make sure that they know it before you move on. It's more over quality versus quantity. I feel like, they're getting a quality education versus going too fast, and not picking up a new concept. So, I think that's good.
And I'll just end with this is when we really do care about them, and certain things happen this year. You think, and when this child is crying and they're upset, if you just blow that off and you never try to help them in those kind of matters, then if you don't care, if they think you don't care, and sometimes you show you don't care, then you're not going to be able to teach them much of anything. Their needs, their physical needs has to play in here too. That we help them with, and if we care, we just do it. It's just part of our being. We just love those kids. We're in it for them, and we're what they've got for several hours in the day, and we're gonna do our best to teach them. So.
That's right. All right, so I want to thank you for taking the time and time out of your day to do this interview. And I've learned a lot, and I'm glad I took notes and everything, and I think I'll benefit from it in this class and later on in my career and in my classroom. So it's nice to know how you feel about research and data and testing and assessment. So I think we did good.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.